I've spent over 30 years helping older adults regain control of their health, and one issue I see again and again is people over 60 quietly losing their eyesight and not understanding why. It's not about going completely blind, but have you noticed that things just aren't as clear as they used to be? Are you struggling to read small print? Do street signs look blurry to you at night? Do you need brighter lights at home just to see clearly? You might believe this is just a normal part of aging, but here's the truth. Much of this decline happens because your eyes aren't receiving the nutrients they need. Yes, you heard that correctly. The real reason many older adults suffer from weak, tired eyes is a deficiency in key vitamins. This isn't something most eye doctors typically discuss. They might check your glasses or prescribe eye drops, but nobody tells you that your eyes are slowly breaking down because they lack the right fuel. By the time symptoms like dry eyes, cloudy vision, or poor night sight appear, your eyes have already been under stress for years. And conditions like cataracts, glaucoma, or macular degeneration don't just happen overnight. They develop slowly when your eyes don't get the proper nourishment from the inside. But here's the good news. This isn't a permanent condition. The process can be slowed down, and in many cases it can even improve. You don't need expensive treatments or surgery. Your eyes simply need the right support, and that support begins with 3 essential vitamins backed by a wealth of research. These vitamins are easy to find and are often overlooked in daily meals. In the next few minutes, I will walk you through exactly what these 3 vitamins are, how they protect your vision, and where you can get them from the foods you may already eat. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss simple science-backed advice like this, made just for older adults like you. Let's begin with the first and most powerful vitamin your eyes may be missing. If you're over 60 and your eyes feel weaker at night if driving after dark has become uncomfortable, or if your vision takes longer to adjust when you walk into a dimly lit room, you may be missing a critical nutrient, vitamin A. This isn't just a general vitamin for your immune system. It is one of the most important nutrients you will ever need for your eyes. Your retina specifically, the rod cells. Responsible for low-light vision requires vitamin A to produce a light-sensitive protein called rhodopsin. Rhodopsin acts like your eye's internal switch, allowing you to see when light levels drop. Without enough of it, your vision becomes slow, unresponsive, and unstable in dim environments. But that's not all. Vitamin A also supports the thin outer layer of your eye, called the corneal epithelium. This layer is your first line of defense against dryness, irritation, and environmental damage. When your vitamin A levels are low, this protective surface begins to break down. That's why many seniors experience dry eyes, burning sensations, or an inability to produce enough tears. So if your eyes feel tired, dry, or unreliable in the evening, it's very likely your body isn't getting the support it needs. I remember a patient named Alan. He was 69 when he came to see me. He told me, "Doc, I can see okay during the day, but at night it's like someone turned the contrast down." He avoided going out after sunset, not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't feel safe. When I looked at his diet, I saw the issue right away. His meals were mostly processed, and not a single food in his routine offered real bioavailable vitamin A. So I walked him through a simple plan. First, I had him include 1 serving of beef liver per week. Just a small 3-ounce portion about the size of a deck of cards was more than enough. For those who don't enjoy liver, I often recommend chicken liver or even a high-quality cod liver oil supplement under medical supervision. Second, I told him to start his mornings with 2 eggs, not just the whites, but the full yolks. Egg yolks contain a more absorbable form of vitamin A, along with healthy fats that help the body use it properly. Third, I asked him to add half a cup of cooked carrots or sweet potatoes to his lunch or dinner at least 4 days a week. Orange vegetables like these are rich in beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A. But the key is pairing them with a little healthy fat like olive oil or avocado which makes them absorb better. He also began eating sautéed spinach twice a week, which helped round out both vitamin A and other eye-protecting antioxidants. 6 weeks later, Alan returned to my office. He wasn't glowing or exaggerating. He was steady calm and simply said, "I drove home at night last week and it felt normal." That's the power of restoring what the body is quietly missing. Now, if you're wondering how to incorporate more vitamin A into your meals, start with real, natural foods. Seniors can benefit from small amounts of beef or chicken liver once a week, 1 or 2 whole eggs per day, and regular servings of orange vegetables like carrots, pumpkin and sweet potatoes. Cooked spinach, kale, and collard greens are also excellent sources, especially when lightly sautéed with healthy fat. Even red bell peppers, cantaloupe, and a little full-fat dairy from grass-fed sources can help round things out. Just keep it simple and stay consistent, and your eyes will respond over time. Let's move on to another vitamin your eyes quietly depend on every single day: vitamin C. Most people think of vitamin C as the immune vitamin, but what they don't realize is that your eyes actually contain one of the highest concentrations of vitamin C in your entire body, especially in the lens. Why? Because the eye lens is constantly exposed to light, oxygen, and stress. To stay clear and flexible, it needs strong antioxidant protection, and that's exactly what vitamin C provides. As we age, the structure of the lens becomes more fragile. Oxidative damage builds up and proteins inside the lens begin to clump together. This is how cataracts form cloudy patches that gradually block your ability to see fine details, especially in bright light. Some seniors describe it as looking through a fogged-up window or needing to clean their glasses over and over again, even when they're already spotless. Vitamin C slows this process by protecting lens proteins from breaking down too early. It fights off unstable oxygen molecules, what we call free radicals, that accelerate tissue aging. In short, it works like an internal cleaner, helping your lens stay smooth, flexible, and clear. But cataracts aren't the only concern. Another silent threat is glaucoma, a condition where fluid builds up inside the eye and damages the optic nerve. You may not notice symptoms at first, but over time, glaucoma can steal your peripheral vision. And then your central vision if left unchecked. This is where vitamin C plays a second role. It helps regulate the fluid pressure inside your eyes. Studies have shown that vitamin C can improve the drainage of intraocular fluid and strengthen the tiny blood vessels that supply your eyes. In one clinical review, higher vitamin C intake was linked to lower intraocular pressure, especially when combined with a healthy diet. I had a patient named Teresa, a retired librarian in her early 70s. Her eye doctor had warned her that her eye pressure was borderline high and might need medication soon. Teresa wasn't opposed to treatment, but she wanted to try dietary changes first. We increased her intake of vitamin C-rich foods every single day. 1 orange in the morning, a handful of strawberries as an afternoon snack, and red bell peppers added to her salads. She also started drinking a small glass of tomato juice in the evenings. 3 months later, her eye pressure had dropped to a normal range without medication. Her vision felt sharper, and her eyes felt less fatigued by the end of the day. Her doctor was surprised, but supportive. "Whatever you're doing," he said, "keep it up." So how can you get more vitamin C naturally? Start your day with an orange, a kiwi, or a few slices of cantaloupe. At lunch, try adding raw red or yellow bell peppers to your sandwich or salad. At dinner, include lightly steamed vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, or cabbage. Some seniors enjoy blending these into soup or stirring them into warm stir-fried dishes. You can also add a squeeze of lemon to your water or sip a small glass of low-sodium tomato juice. Vitamin C is water-soluble, which means it doesn't stay in your system for long. Your body flushes out what it doesn't use, so you need to replenish it daily. If you already take a supplement, that's fine, but don't rely on pills alone. Whole foods offer supporting nutrients that work alongside vitamin C to protect your eyes long-term. If you're noticing cloudy vision or light sensitivity, or if your doctor has mentioned early signs of cataracts or high pressure, this is the time to act, not with fear, but with daily habits that protect your vision where it matters most. Now let's talk about a vitamin that protects the deepest layers of your eyes, vitamin E. While vitamin A and C guard the front of the eye, the cornea, and the lens, vitamin E goes even further. It works deep in the back of your eye inside the retina, where light is transformed into signals your brain can understand. As we age, the retina becomes more vulnerable to oxidative damage. One of the most common results of that damage is age-related macular degeneration, AMD. It's one of the leading causes of vision loss in seniors, and it doesn't affect your entire field of vision. It strikes right in the center, slowly blurring what you see when reading, driving, or recognizing faces. Vitamin E helps slow that process. It works by stabilizing cell membranes in the retina and neutralizing the oxidative stress caused by years of light exposure pollution and poor circulation. Think of it as a bodyguard for your photoreceptor cells, the tiny nerve endings that allow you to see sharp images in color and detail. And when combined with other antioxidants like vitamin C, its effect becomes even more powerful. That's exactly why the National Eye Institute included vitamin E in the original AREDs. And AREDS2 studies, which showed that a specific mix of vitamins and antioxidants helped slow the progression of moderate to advanced macular degeneration in older adults. I remember a patient named Robert, age 71. He was a retired carpenter with strong hands, but his vision had started to fade. He told me he could still see outlines, but reading the newspaper or seeing his grandson's face clearly had become a struggle. We reviewed his meals, processed meats, white bread, and sugary snacks. There was almost no vitamin E in his diet. Together we built a simple plan. He began adding almonds as a mid-morning snack, switched to extra virgin olive oil for cooking, and started eating sautéed spinach with his eggs every other day. On weekends, he enjoyed a piece of salmon or trout, and once a week a handful of sunflower seeds with his lunch. 2 months in, Robert wasn't cured, but he felt a change. He said his eyes no longer felt strained by mid-afternoon, and reading the paper with his glasses actually felt possible again. "It's like I'm buying time," he said. And he was right. That's exactly what these nutrients do. They slow things down, giving your eyes the support they need to keep up. So how can you get more vitamin E without complicating your meals? Focus on natural fats and seeds. Seniors can benefit from a small handful of almonds or sunflower seeds most days. Cooking with extra virgin olive oil instead of processed oils adds a steady stream of antioxidants. Green vegetables like spinach, Swiss chard, and even beet greens provide vitamin E in a form that's gentle on the digestive system. Fatty fish like salmon or trout once or twice a week add both vitamin E and omega-3 acids, which work together to support the retina. Even avocados, when eaten regularly, contribute a modest amount of vitamin E along with healthy fats that help it absorb. Just like vitamin C, vitamin E needs to be part of your everyday rhythm. Your eyes are exposed to oxidative stress every waking hour. But when you nourish them consistently, you help preserve what matters most: your ability to read, recognize loved ones, and stay independent. You've now heard what vitamin A, C, and E can each do on their own. But here's what most people don't realize. When these 3 vitamins are combined, their power multiplies. Think of your eyes like a house. Vitamin A turns on the lights at night so you can see where you're going. Vitamin C keeps the windows clean and the pressure inside safe. And vitamin E protects the wiring deep inside the walls so the signals stay strong. But what happens if you fix only one thing and ignore the rest? That's what many people do. They take one supplement or change just one meal. But the eyes are a system, and systems work best when all parts are supported. I've seen it so many times in my practice. Someone comes in with dry eyes, light sensitivity, or early signs of vision decline. They've been taking vitamin C or eating carrots, but not much else. They're trying, but something's missing. And once we start filling in the gaps, adding a healthy fat to help absorb vitamin A, increasing vitamin E through nuts and olive oil, balancing the day with more fresh vegetables and fruits, something shifts. They don't get perfect vision, but they tell me things like, "I don't rub my eyes as much in the afternoon anymore," or "I can read the labels at the store without squinting," or "The lights at night don't bother me as much as they used to." These changes are quiet, but they are very real. Because your eyes don't need a miracle. They just need support from all directions. So if you've tried eating healthier before and didn't feel a difference, don't give up. It might be that you were only giving your eyes part of what they need. Now you know the full picture. And the best part is, this doesn't mean taking a dozen pills or following a complicated diet. It just means thinking in trios, vitamin A, C, and E working together in the meals you already enjoy. An egg with spinach carrots with olive oil, a few almonds in the afternoon, a piece of grilled fish with steamed broccoli at dinner. It's simple, real, and natural. And if you keep at it day after day, week after week, you'll begin to feel the difference. Less strain, more confidence, and clearer moments that you may have forgotten were possible. So how do you take everything we've talked about and actually make it a part of your life? You don't need a long checklist. You just need a few simple habits you can repeat every day. Start your morning with a real breakfast, something with eggs, maybe sautéed spinach, or a slice of avocado on the side. That gives you vitamin A and E right from the start. At lunch, try to include color on your plate. A few slices of red bell pepper, a small sweet potato, or even a handful of cooked carrots. Add olive oil when you can. Just a teaspoon helps your body absorb more nutrients. For an afternoon snack, go for a small handful of almonds or sunflower seeds. They're rich in vitamin E and easy to keep in the kitchen. Dinner can be as simple as steamed broccoli, grilled salmon, or a bowl of lentil soup with kale stirred in. Add a wedge of lemon or a splash of tomato juice, and you've covered your vitamin C too. You don't need to change everything at once, but the more often these foods show up on your plate, the more support your eyes receive. If you're someone who finds it hard to eat much, whether because of medication digestion or just low appetite, talk to your doctor about a simple supplement. Some seniors benefit from a basic multivitamin that includes A, C, and E in moderate amounts. Others might choose to focus on food alone. Either way, what matters is staying consistent because your eyes are with you every day. They help you recognize the face of someone you love, see the road ahead, and enjoy a book, a flower, or a smile. They deserve care, and so do you. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this video. I know there's a lot of confusing advice out there. My goal is simple: to give you clear, trustworthy information that helps you feel in control. If today's video gave you something useful, something you might try this week, please consider tapping the like button. It helps more seniors find this information. If you know someone who's struggling with tired eyes, blurry vision, or just wants to stay independent longer, feel free to share this video with them. And if this is your first time here, I warmly invite you to subscribe. We're here to support each other one small step at a time. Finally, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one food you're going to add this week for your eyes? Your story might inspire someone else to begin. Take care of your vision. Take care of yourself.